read everything I could. And over the 60 years, we have had revelations after revelation. And
hold on to your seats. Things are about to get wild. Rob Reiner, the legendary director, has dropped a bombshell that's shaking up the world of conspiracy theories. In a recent revelation, he claims to have solved the mystery of the JFK assassination and even names 4 potential suspects. You won't want to miss this jaw-dropping breakdown of his findings. Stay tuned as we dive into this shocking new theory. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Reiner reflects, I was in high school, sitting in my physics class, when a student suddenly walked in and whispered something to the teacher. His face was pale, and his voice trembled as he turned to us, saying, I have some terrible, terrible news. The room fell silent, we were all sent home, and as I walked out of school, my mind was racing with confusion and disbelief. The gravity of what had just happened began to settle in as the evening unfolded. We watched non-stop coverage from that moment on. Television screens across the country broadcasting the events. Seeing the tragedy unfold in real time, followed by the shocking images of the man accused of killing President Kennedy. Etched that day into my memory forever. The autumn of 1963 etched an indelible mark on 16-year-old Rob Reiner's consciousness. A moment that would ignite a 6-decade journey into one of history's most perplexing mysteries. On that fateful day, the mundane rhythm of high school life shattered in an instant. It began with a quiet, unsettling message passed between a student and a teacher. The teacher, his face pale and troubled, turned to the classroom and delivered the devastating news, I have some terrible, terrible news. The words hung in the air, heavy with gravity, as disbelief spread throughout the room like a wave. In the moments that followed, Reiner and his classmates were sent home, their thoughts consumed by the events that would forever alter the course of history. Like millions of Americans, Reiner became glued to the television. The images were haunting: President Kennedy's final moments, the somber procession, the funeral rites, and they seared into his memory. The surreal sequence of events that followed, from the shocking murder of Lee Harvey Oswald live on television to the overwhelming grief and confusion that enveloped the nation, created an atmosphere of intense emotion and bewilderment. For Reiner, this personal experience was not merely a moment of history. It became the foundation for a lifelong quest to uncover the truth behind one of the most significant and enduring mysteries in American history. The subsequent days following that fateful moment brought an even more surreal and unsettling series of events. Alongside the rest of the nation, Rob Reiner watched in horror as the shocking live broadcast of Lee Harvey Oswald's murder by nightclub owner Jack Ruby unfolded before his eyes. The images were jarring. Oswald, the accused assassin, ruthlessly gunned down in a public act of vengeance. It was a moment that felt scripted, surreal, and deeply unsettling, playing out like a dark political thriller that seemed too bizarre to be real. For Reiner, who was just 16 at the time, this sequence of events was more than just a national tragedy. It was the beginning of a relentless quest for understanding. The gravity of witnessing such a monumental event in real time left an indelible mark on his consciousness. Every detail, every nuance, became a puzzle that needed solving. The questions were endless. How did things escalate so quickly? What were the true motives behind these actions? Was there more to the story than what the public had been told? This sense of unease and disbelief lingered long after the cameras had stopped rolling. It became the foundation of Reiner's lifelong journey to uncover the truth. A journey that would stretch across decades, driven by a determination to unravel one of the most perplexing and controversial moments in American history. As the years passed, Rob Reiner's perspective shifted from that of a bewildered witness to a determined investigator. Fueled by an unrelenting quest for the truth, the journey through time only intensified his resolve to uncover the full story behind one of the most profound moments in American history. Countless visits to Dealey Plaza became more than just personal reflections. They became immersive journeys into a historical enigma. Each trip allowed Reiner to stand in the very spots where key events unfolded, immersing himself in the atmosphere of that fateful day. The plaza, once a site of tragedy, transformed into a living, breathing classroom, where Reiner meticulously reconstructed the intricate details of November 22, 1963. With every visit, Reiner absorbed the subtle nuances of the surroundings, the angles of the buildings, the precise trajectory of the shots, and the perspectives of witnesses whose testimonies had been buried under layers of official accounts. His dedication to the truth demanded more than passive observation. It required a comprehensive understanding of the sequence of events and the motivations behind them. Reiner's exhaustive investigation became a relentless pursuit of connecting the fragmented pieces of history. Every detail, no matter how small, was meticulously examined and analyzed, pushing past the surface to reveal the deeper layers of a conspiracy that had long been hidden. Through this methodical and immersive approach, Reiner began to challenge the official narratives and bring to light the complexities that had been obscured for decades. What started as a personal journey to make sense of a national tragedy eventually grew into something much deeper. Reiner's memories of that day became the foundation for a relentless investigation that spanned over 6 decades. With his unique experience as both a witness to history and a respected filmmaker, he was able to bridge the gap between personal stories and the broader historical narrative. Driven by a desire to uncover the truth, Reiner meticulously pieced together the events of that fateful day. His journey led him to revisit Dealey Plaza countless times, standing in the exact spots where history unfolded. What once was a crime scene became a living classroom, a space where he could reflect and analyze every detail, carefully uncovering the layers that had been hidden for so long. Over the years, Reiner's quest became more than just personal. It evolved into a deeply thoughtful exploration of the complexities surrounding the assassination. Blending personal experiences with thorough research to challenge the official accounts, his work provides a fresh, human perspective on a dark chapter in history, offering insights that continue to resonate. This fusion of personal passion and professional expertise ultimately led him to collaborate with journalist Soledad O'Brien, transforming years of meticulous research and deep emotional reflection into a powerful podcast series. Together, they embarked on a quest to uncover the full scope of what really happened in Dallas that fateful day. For Reiner, the emotional weight of that high school moment has been an ever-present driving force. It ignites a relentless pursuit of truth, compelling him to challenge the very foundations of the official assassination narrative. His journey has evolved into a profound exploration, one that weaves together personal experience, historical investigation, and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the complexities hidden beneath the surface. Through this dedication, Reiner provides a nuanced and compelling account that pushes beyond the official story, offering fresh insights and thought-provoking revelations about one of history's most perplexing events. The conspiracy unveiled through Reiner's thorough investigation shows a much more complex picture than the lone gunman theory that has long been accepted. In his detailed 10-part podcast series, Reiner carefully uncovers a web of connections linking 3 powerful groups in an unlikely alliance. Rogue elements within the CIA, members of the Cuban exile community, and influential figures from organized crime work together to orchestrate one of the most significant political assassinations in American history. This collaboration went far beyond what a single person could accomplish, with each group bringing their own level of influence and expertise to the operation. Through meticulous research, Reiner reveals how these factions operated in secrecy, coordinating efforts to manipulate events and create a narrative that served their collective interests. His findings challenge the official story, presenting a more intricate and interconnected conspiracy that reshaped the course of history. The investigation shatters long-held assumptions about the events in Dealey Plaza. While conspiracy theorists have long focused on the grassy knoll as the sole site of the fatal shot, Rob Reiner's meticulous research uncovers a more intricate and carefully orchestrated operation involving multiple shooting positions. The grassy knoll, while undeniably hosting one of the shooters responsible for the neck wound, was not the sole origin of the fatal shot that ultimately ended President Kennedy's life. Through exhaustive forensic analysis, eyewitness testimonies, and newly declassified evidence, Reiner paints a more comprehensive picture of the events that transpired. His findings reveal a deliberate, multi-layered conspiracy involving individuals and groups whose presence, movement, and coordination on that day point to a far more sophisticated and clandestine operation than the lone gunman theory suggests. This revelation fundamentally shifts the understanding of how the assassination unfolded, challenging the official narrative and exposing the complexities that were once dismissed or overlooked. What truly stands out in Rob Reiner's investigation is the compelling evidence that points to the involvement of specific individuals who meticulously planned their presence in Dallas that day. Through years of relentless research, Reiner uncovers a network of known operatives with ties to both intelligence agencies and organized crime syndicates. These figures, whose identities Reiner promises to reveal in his podcast, moved through the city with calculated precision, leaving behind a trail that took decades to uncover. Their actions, carefully orchestrated and deliberately hidden, suggest a level of coordination that far surpasses the capabilities of any lone assassin. The intricate web of connections and deliberate obscuration of their movements point to a conspiracy far more sophisticated than what the official narrative has long maintained. Each layer unraveled deepens the understanding of the complex web woven to carry out such a calculated and secretive plot. The conspiracy's sophistication becomes painfully evident in its meticulously calculated execution, described by Reiner as clinical precision. The use of multiple shooters strategically positioned at carefully selected vantage points created a deadly crossfire, designed to sow confusion and leave a trail that was nearly impossible to follow. The operation's complexity extended far beyond the immediate moment of the shooting. It involved a carefully orchestrated network of support personnel who ensured the success of the plan by managing logistics, providing cover, and facilitating safe exits. Escape routes were planned with precision, leaving little room for error. Moreover, a critical component of the conspiracy was the development of a mechanism to obscure the truth. Layers of misinformation, manipulated evidence, and controlled narratives were meticulously crafted to obscure the reality of what happened. This web of deceit, woven with deliberate intent, stands as a stark reminder of how far some are willing to go to maintain control over the narrative, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. This meticulously crafted plot, concealed beneath layers of official denials and misdirection, remains fortified by what Reiner's investigation uncovers as a deliberate strategy to control the flow of information. Each element was carefully orchestrated, ensuring that every piece of evidence, every piece of testimony, was subjected to scrutiny and manipulation. The conspiracy's true nature, involving these three distinct yet deeply interconnected groups: rogue elements within the CIA, members of the Cuban exile community, and high-ranking figures from organized crime, represents a dark convergence of power and influence. Together, they formed an alliance of convenience, one that sought to manipulate history for their own ends. This sinister collaboration not only shaped the narrative of the assassination but also left behind a legacy of secrecy and unanswered questions that continue to haunt the nation. 6 decades later, the echoes of that dark chapter continue to resonate, as new revelations challenge the official story and expose the depth of the conspiracy that once sought to control the truth. New evidence and shocking revelations continue to surface, further complicating the narrative surrounding the events of November 22, 1963. Recently, a powerful documentary revisited the experiences of the Parkland doctors, whose first-hand accounts have long been a crucial, yet overlooked, aspect of the investigation. Every single one of them asserted that all the gunshot wounds sustained by President Kennedy were entrance wounds. If this is true, it significantly contradicts the official story and raises disturbing questions about the true origins of the fatal shots. At the heart of Reiner's exhaustive investigation is the compelling testimony of the Parkland Hospital medical team, skilled professionals who worked desperately to save the president's life. Their detailed observations, meticulously recorded in their original medical reports, provide invaluable evidence in piecing together the events of that day. These findings, especially regarding the nature of Kennedy's wounds, stand in stark contrast to the official narrative. The doctor's clinical observations of entrance wounds directly challenge the long-standing single-shooter theory associated with the Texas Schoolbook Depository. This contradiction not only undermines the validity of the lone gunman explanation, but also raises deeper questions about the complexity of the conspiracy that may have been deliberately obscured over the years. Even more astonishing is the discovery of detailed testimonies from former CIA assets. Accounts that had remained buried in silence for decades. One such individual has stepped forward with a narrative that fills a critical gap in the labyrinthine story of President Kennedy's assassination. This testimony provides what Reiner describes as a crucial missing link, shedding light on the transportation of two infamous figures, Johnny Roselli, a known organized crime figure, and E. Howard Hunt, a controversial CIA operative, to Dallas on the morning of November 22, 1963. The sheer precision of this account, backed by newly declassified documents and corroborating evidence, introduces a deeply unsettling new layer to the assassination's narrative. These records meticulously chart the movements of Roselli and Hunt, detailing their arrival, coordination, and activities leading up to that fateful day. What makes this revelation even more damning is the way these details seamlessly align with other independently verified events from that same time, creating a puzzle piece that fits too perfectly to be coincidence. This new evidence not only implicates key players with connections to intelligence operations and organized crime, but also underscores the level of planning and sophistication behind the assassination. According to Reiner, the logistics of their movements weren't random, they were deliberate, calculated, and executed with chilling precision. Such revelations suggest a shadowy alliance, long suspected but never definitively proven, working in lockstep to orchestrate one of the most significant and tragic events in American history. The testimony, paired with declassified materials, casts a harsh light on the tangled web of motives, players, and cover-ups that continue to define the Kennedy assassination. The most shocking discovery to surface from Reiner's years of investigation lies in the thousands of pages of previously hidden CIA files on Lee Harvey Oswald. These documents, many declassified only recently, paint a startlingly different portrait of Oswald, one that raises as many questions as it answers. Far from the isolated and embittered figure the world has been led to believe he was. The files reveal a man entangled in a web of interactions with intelligence operatives, stretching back years before that fateful day in Dallas. For Reiner, the discovery was deeply unsettling. You start to realize that this wasn't just about a lone man with a rifle. He reflects, Oswald was part of something much bigger, something darker than we ever imagined. The investigation uncovered detailed accounts of Oswald's movements and communications, each one hinting at connections to powerful, unseen forces operating behind the scenes. These revelations forced Reiner to confront a sobering possibility, that Oswald wasn't simply a scapegoat, but a carefully placed pawn in a much larger game. What makes these findings even more troubling is the light they cast on the official investigations that followed the assassination. Both the Warren Commission and the House Select Committee on Assassinations, it seems, either overlooked or outright ignored crucial details about Oswald's ties to intelligence circles. You can't look at these files and not feel a sense of betrayal. Reiner admits, it's not just about what they didn't find, it's about what they didn't want us to find. As Reiner combed through the paper trail, the weight of what he was uncovering began to hit him on a personal level. He thought back to the 16-year-old boy in a Texas high school, reeling from the shock of a national tragedy, believing the official story because there was nothing else to hold on to. Now, decades later, he felt a deep responsibility to bring these hidden truths to light. Not just for himself but for the countless others who had lived through that moment, trusting they were being told the whole story. The files don't just challenge the image of Oswald, they unravel it. They suggest he was far more than a simple man with a grudge. Was he an operative, a double agent, or someone caught in the crossfire of forces he couldn't control? For Reiner, each new discovery was both a triumph and a burden, uncovering a truth that could rewrite the history of the assassination, but also exposing the deep layers of secrecy and deception that had kept it hidden for so long. This isn't just a story about documents, Reiner says. It's about understanding who Oswald really was, and what his story tells us about that day, and about ourselves as a nation. The truth was never as simple as we were told. Modern technology has breathed new life into the photographic and cinematic records of Dealey Plaza, uncovering details that once went unnoticed, enhanced using advanced forensic techniques. These images now provide sharper insights into the positioning of key figures and the timing of critical events during the tragic moments of November 22, 1963, when paired with contemporary witness accounts and sophisticated ballistic analysis. A compelling picture emerges, one that supports the theory of multiple shooters and undermines the long-standing lone gunman narrative. Reiner's investigation doesn't stop at what transpired in the plaza. It delves into an equally shocking story, the scale and depth of the cover-up that followed President Kennedy's assassination. The House Select Committee came to a different conclusion. They called it a conspiracy. Reiner points out, yet the Warren Commission insisted Oswald acted alone. What's worse, both were compromised, with CIA agents acting as gatekeepers of the truth. This systematic suppression of evidence began almost immediately, at Parkland Hospital, where doctors initially observed Kennedy's wounds. Medical professionals were reportedly pressured to adjust their findings to fit the official story. The manipulation didn't stop there. Testimonies from key witnesses, those whose accounts contradicted the prevailing narrative, were selectively edited, dismissed, or outright erased from the official record. Under J. Edgar Hoover's leadership, the FBI played a central role in silencing dissenting voices. Witnesses who saw or heard anything inconsistent with the single-shooter theory were discredited or ignored entirely. Reiner describes it as a carefully orchestrated effort to reshape the truth, spanning multiple government agencies and involving high-ranking officials. This pattern of tampering wasn't isolated to Dallas. Evidence was altered, ignored, or hidden in a broader effort to control public perception of the assassination. Reiner's research highlights how the cover-up wasn't simply an attempt to tie up loose ends. It was an intentional strategy to bury the larger conspiracy beneath layers of disinformation. The implications of Reiner's findings are staggering, leaving one to ponder the real motives behind the conspiracy and its cover-up. Was it to protect individuals in positions of power, to avoid geopolitical fallout, or perhaps both? And now, as Reiner nears the culmination of his life's work, he poses an even bolder challenge, the naming of 4 individuals he claims were directly responsible for the assassination. These revelations, he insists, will finally shed light on the truth that has been obscured for decades. For many, this investigation offers not just answers but a chance to heal old wounds. The mystery of Kennedy's assassination has haunted the American consciousness for more than 60 years, dividing opinions and spawning countless theories. As the nation braces for Reiner's forthcoming disclosures, one question lingers: will these revelations finally bring closure, or will they ignite an even deeper search for justice? What do you think? Could Reiner's findings be the key to solving this enduring mystery? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
In both the White House and across the federal government and his cabinet, and I'm so excited to get to work with my...
In a world where making headlines can stem from chart-topping hits, box office smashes, or political achievements, press secretaries often work behind the scenes to shape campaigns and manage messages. But Karoline Leavitt is changing the game, setting a record as the youngest press secretary ever appointed. Curious about her story and the personal side of her life, including who she's married to? Stick around, her journey is one you'll want to hear about. Karoline's early life. Karoline C.L.A. Leavitt was born on August 24, 1997, in Atkinson, New Hampshire. Her family owned an ice cream shop and a used truck dealership in nearby Pelham, giving her a strong connection to small businesses and a grounded upbringing. Karoline attended Central Catholic High School in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where she quickly stood out for her dedication and enthusiasm. Her hard work and determination earned her a softball scholarship to St. Anselm College. During her time at St. Anselm, Karoline's potential didn't go unnoticed. The head of the political science department saw something special in her. Her optimism and cheerful approach to challenges were qualities that made her stand out. He once said, "It's the same thing that stands out today. She's very optimistic and cheerful in her remarks and the way she responds to questions." Karoline's ability to approach situations with positivity and confidence helped shape her path, setting the stage for her future in politics and communications. Caroline Leavitt's passion for politics and communication was evident long before she stepped into the national spotlight. As a college student, she was unapologetically vocal in her support for President Trump, penning op-eds in the campus newspaper that championed his travel ban and critiqued the perceived biases of the mainstream media. Her writings reflected a sharp intellect and a willingness to tackle controversial topics, even in a challenging academic environment. Her drive to amplify voices extended beyond writing. Caroline took the initiative to found St. Anselm College's first ever broadcasting club, a testament to her vision and leadership. While managing her studies and extracurricular activities, she also gained practical experience in media, working at HARS Television WMTV. In 2019, she graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications and Political Science. Armed with a solid foundation in both fields and ready to make her mark, her time at St. Anselm was not just an academic journey, it was a launchpad for her burgeoning career in public service and media. Her career and becoming press secretary. Caroline Leavitt's entry into the political arena was nothing short of ambitious. After earning her degree, she landed a prestigious internship at the White House, where she gained first-hand experience in the fast-paced world of national politics. Her talent and determination quickly caught the attention of key figures, leading her to join the communications team under the guidance of former press secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Working in this high-profile role, she honed her skills in messaging and public relations, learning how to navigate the complexities of the national stage. Caroline's next chapter took her to Capitol Hill, where she worked with New York Representative and UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik. This opportunity deepened her understanding of legislative processes and diplomatic relations, broadening her political acumen. Although she was thriving in these roles, Caroline had her sights set on something even greater. In 2022, she made a bold move by entering the race for Congress, becoming the youngest female nominee in history to do so. Her candidacy energized voters, and she successfully secured the Republican nomination by defeating Matt Mowers, while she ultimately lost the general election to incumbent Chris Pappas by a margin of 15.000 votes. The campaign was a testament to her resilience and determination. It was clear that her political journey was only just beginning, and she had already made a lasting impression as a rising star in the Republican Party. Caroline Leavitt's unwavering commitment to Donald Trump's campaign showcased her determination and loyalty. She became a vital force in his re-election efforts, joining the team as a staunch defender of his policies and vision. Whether attending rallies across the nation or stepping into the media spotlight, she worked tirelessly to amplify his message and address controversies head-on. Caroline's resolve was especially evident during the most challenging moments. She stood by Trump during his legal battles and high-pressure trials, becoming a reliable voice of support on television and radio. Her passion for the cause extended beyond personal challenges, demonstrating extraordinary dedication when, just days after the demanding birth of her son, she returned to address the public following an assassination attempt on Trump. This moment encapsulated her deep commitment not only to the campaign but also to the principles she believed in. As she later reflected, her actions were driven by a sense of duty. The president literally put his life on the line to serve this country. The least I could do was stand by him in this pivotal moment. The role of a press secretary is one of the most demanding jobs in any administration. The voice of the government, tasked with translating complex policies into digestible updates and fielding tough questions during daily press briefings. But under Trump's presidency, the job took on a unique dynamic. From 2017 to 2021, Trump worked with 4 press secretaries: Sean Spicer, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Stephanie Grisham, and Kayleigh McEnany. Each brought their own personality and strategies to the podium, navigating the intense spotlight of national and global media. But the truth was, they often played a supporting role rather than leading the charge. Trump had his own way of connecting with the public. He thrived at rallies, speaking directly to his supporters in packed arenas, where his energy and message resonated most. Social media also became a cornerstone of his communication strategy, allowing him to share his thoughts instantly with millions. It was a direct, unfiltered approach that sidelined the traditional press secretary role, shifting its focus to backing up his message rather than setting it. This dynamic might have been unconventional, but it worked in the context of Trump's presidency. His press secretaries adapted, becoming crucial players.